뭐요? It's my bowl wasn't talking about something. So Christmas Eve day, in American history. In American history. In the early 17th century. But then, just so you know, it goes back to the 16th century. In the early 16th, mid 1600s. Let me start this again, but I'm not gonna stop recording. In the early 17th century, a wave of spirituality or religious reform changed the way Christmas was celebrated in Europe. 17th century, when Oliver Cromwell and his Puritan forces took over England in 1645. They vowed to rid of England of decadence, the English, and as part of their effort, they cancelled Christmas. By popular demand, though, Charles II restored to the throne, and with him came the return of the popular holiday. Thank you, Charles II. Thanks, Charles II. Thanks to Jesus. For your things, and I think you did or what happened in the future, but only because it was necessary. Okay. Yesuah fresh waters and food and bones. That's what happens and stuff. Anyways, came the return of the popular holiday. Well, luckily. And anyways, thank you, Charles II. Yes, I guess, so decadence is a bad thing, and the English were concerned about decadence. Whatever. The Pilgrims in English, and the Separatists that came to America, the English Separatists, so the English Whigs, that's where that term originally started, before the American Whig Party. Basically, the English separatists that came to America, the English separatists that came to America in 1620, were even more orthodox in the Puritan beliefs than Cromwell. As a result, Christmas was not a holiday in early America. From 1659 to 1681, the celebration of Christmas was actually outlawed in Boston. I was in Boston. It was Drury. I don't like Boston. I don't like Massachusetts. I didn't really like Connecticut. Or Maine. No, I don't. Well, who knows? There's probably some people in Maine that like Maine. Couples. Whatever. In Boston, 1659 to 1681, Boston, Massachusetts outlawed Christmas. In Boston, anyone exhibiting the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. By contrast, the Jamestown settlement, Captain John Smith reported that Christmas was enjoyed by all the passed without incident. After the American Revolution and English customs fell out of favor, including Christmas. In fact, Congress was in session December 25th, 1789. After the American Revolution. Let's go back to the 1659 to 1681. Though outlawed in Boston, the Jamestown settlement, Captain John Smith reported that Christmas was enjoyed by all and passed without incident. In 1681, or was he talking about all the years between 1659 and 1681, or a specific year? But it was still celebrated, though I guess they try to penalize you in Boston, Massachusetts, if you celebrated Christmas in the 1600s. In Boston. And there's the 13 colonies, or the 13 states that became, or whatever. And there were smaller stars then. After the American Revolution, English customs fell out of favor, including Christmas. In fact, Congress was in session on session in December 25th, 1789, after the American Revolution. The first Christmas under the new American Constitution, the second Constitution. Christmas wasn't declared a federal holiday. Wasn't. Yes, how are you? Yeah. It's like only if, they would invite me to invite my dog to stay in the basement. And John and David's usually in the basement. Poor communication skills. One time I was invited and I said, or it could have been in the backyard, but no one invites me, so I don't know. I could leave my dog at the at this one place folks at the folks it'd be locked out. The house would be, and then I'd come back, but then I'd come back here. So, it'd be nice if they could just offer. This auntie knows I have a dog, so why can't she say, well, it could be in the basement. You could be in the basement with Tico, and when John or David comes down there. My aunt supposedly thinks about me, but she doesn't even offer that, and I don't see how Grandma would say no to that, because we'd be in the basement. And I have a few cousins that would go to the basement. And probably a cousin that would like to play his guitar. Oh yeah, that's a different story, but whatever. Different thing. So Christmas wasn't declared a federal holiday in America until June 26, 1870. Oh, so it wasn't a federal holiday until 1870. Now they wanted just to say Merry Holiday or Happy Holiday or Holidays, and some things don't want to say Merry Christmas. Well, it's a federal holiday. The people that actually declared the federal holiday, it's on June 26, 1870, but then it was celebrated in December, wasn't it? So, why don't we celebrate it on the federal holiday? Actually, I had some visions, so his birthday would actually be in June. Maybe it's June 26th, 25th, 26th, 26th, 19, 18, 34 AD. I think, and 80, but it was a federal holiday in America on 26th of June, 1870. Christmas was always celebrated in the 1600s and on the East Coast, but in Boston they would penalize you. But it didn't become a holiday until 1870. But it was celebrated from 1659 and 1681 on the East Coast, and 1789. Christmas, in fact, in Congress in session December 25th, 1789, but Christmas wasn't declared a federal holiday until June 26, 1870. So we would have two Christmases days. The federal holiday, and then I guess the Saturnina thing or Christmas thing, which they celebrated 1,000 years. I guess I heard or someone said that they were wanting it December 25th or Messiah. But this said American federal holiday. They made it a federal holiday June 26, 1870. I think it's in June. I don't think it's in December. Some say it's January. But these visions, second row of visions, his birthday's in June. We should celebrate it on the actual holiday, federal holiday of June 26, 1870. Not George Washington, but Washington Irving reinvents Christmas. It wasn't until the 19th century that Americans began to supposedly embrace Christmas in the 1900s, but we celebrated Christmas in the 1600s and 1700s and 1800s. But it was more embraced supposedly in the 1900s. Or maybe it's the 1900s where it became more mediatized, where it had more things about gifts, and actually less about Jesus Christ. Well, except the masses or the services, or the church mass. But Because they actually had more toys in the 1900s than the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s. I mean, you had the Lincoln, the logs, and like Legos, the pre-Legos things, or logs. I was thinking, what about presidential action figures? 44. There's been 58 technically. 19th century was a period of class conflict and turmoil. During this time, unemployment was high in the 19th century, early, mid, or late, and high, and gang rioting was disenchanted classes often occurred during the Christmas season. Going back to the 1800s, 1828, the New York City Council instituted the city first police force in response to a Christmas riot. This catalyzed certain members of the upper class to begin to change the way that Christmas was celebrated in America. In 1819, not 1828, but so before 1828, in 1819, best-selling author Washington Irving wrote the sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, a series of stories about the celebration of Christmas in an English manor house in England, or in Europe. The sketches feature a squire who invited the peasants into his home for the holiday. To his house for the holiday. In contrast to the problems faced in American society, the two groups mingled effortlessly, and the Irving's way Christmas should be a peaceful, serenity, warm-hearted holiday, bringing groups together across lines of wealth or social status. Irving's fictitious celebrants enjoyed ancient customs, including the crowning of Lord of Misrule. Irving's book, however, was not based on any holiday celebration he attended. In fact, many historians say that Irving's account actually invented tradition by implying that described the true customs of the season. Now, this is before the Civil War, which was illegal by the government. That was illegal. North and the South were divided on the issue of Christmas as the question of slavery, as well as the question of slavery. Many Northerners saw sin in the celebration of Christmas, or maybe that's when it turned modern. In 1853, or no, not 1853, 1861 or 1863. Yeah, Fillmore delayed the Civil War for 10 years. Maybe it became mediatized around 1863. Well, wait, the television was Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison? No, I know. Graham Bell, Edison, the light bulb, and Graham Bell, the telephone, and Philip Farnsworth, the television. Philip Farnsworth, I think he was around in the late 1800s, or mid 1800s. I'd have to look that up again, Philip Farnsworth. But anyways, well, I mean, it actually did become more mediatized in terms of newspaper publishing, but now everything's digital, and also I read this thing for the oh yeah, I said that. Excuse me. That language. Like the iPad, iPhone, iPod, or as like E.T. Williams calls it, the iPodding. But it looks like, if it's that size, it looks like you have to sit towards the front of it, or they need to put a seat on there. Anyways. Yeah, seriously. Anyways. Now everything's digital. But back then, in the 1861, 63, the publications of Christmas, the newspaper ads, and probably about ink and logs, and whatever other first toys they had then. But those were just like trinkets, or more so, or maybe they had like teddies or whatever. But in the South, Christmas was an important part of the social season. Not surprisingly, I guess there were some Catholics there in the South too. Not surprisingly, to make Christmas a legal holiday in South Alabama in 1836, Louisiana, Arkansas in 1838, the holiday became a legal holiday in those states. So I guess in the 1600s and 1700s, I guess people, there was no promotion for the holidays then. But in the 1800s there was some minimal. In the years after the Civil War, Christmas traditions spread across the country. Children's books played an important role. Books and customs celebrating Christmas and tradition, trim trees and gifts delivered by Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas, in France, Claus. Sunday school classes encouraged the celebration of Christmas. Women's magazines were also magazines. Important 1800s, they had magazines issues and they're suggesting ways to decorate for the holiday, and as well to make these decorations. In the 1800s, the last quarter of the 19th century, America eagerly decorated trees, caroled, baked, and shopped for the Christmas season. Since that time, materialism and media advertising and mass marketing since 2000s have made Christmas what it is today. Though some people, some true people that celebrate Christmas say that it's become too media-sized. I mean, it is more cheerful. There's more things, like the lights, whatever. Those came around 1900s, or maybe 1800s. An overview. 1600s. The Puritans make it illegal to mention St. Nicholas' name in the 1600s. Puritans. People were not allowed to exchange gifts, light a candle, or sing Christmas carols in the 1600s. And the overview of Christmas. Though people still celebrate it. And the 17th century, Dutch immigrants brought with them the legend of Sinterklaas. Santa Claus. St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was banned the name to mention it, just like Hitler in the 1600s, but he was from the 1889. He was from the 1900s. You couldn't mention St. Nicholas in the 1600s. That's fine. 1700s, like the 1700s, 1800s, yeah. 1700s. Santa first appeared in the media as St. Sta. Claus, Nicholas, or Claus. The New York Historical Society in 1804 was founded with St. Nicholas as the patron saint. Its members engaged in Dutch practice of gift-giving. Washington Irvine, 1809, writing under the pseudonym Dietrich Knickerbocker, included St. Nicholas in the book of the History of New York. Nicholas is described as riding into a town on a horse. Horse? Not reindeer. Not flying reindeer. On a horse. On a horse. Irvine revised his book to include Nicholas riding over the trees in a wagon. Wagon. Or sleigh. No, wagon. But it didn't come on. A wagon. A sleigh. William Giley printed a poem about Santa Claus who dressed in colors and drove a sleigh by a single reindeer. That doesn't fly. Though it could, but take it. 1822, Dennis Clement Clark and Moore is believed to have written a poem, account of visit of St. Nicholas, patron, who became better known as the night before Christmas. Santa Nicholas is portrayed as an elf with a miniature sleigh equipped with 8 reindeer, which are named the poem Blitzen, Comet, Cupid, Dancer, Dasher, Donner, Prancer, and Vixen, though they didn't fly. Others attributed the poem to contemporary Henry Livingston Jr. to have since been renamed Donner and Blitzen. First of all, though, like I said, the first thing Nicholas rode was a horse. And the federal holiday of America said Jesus' birthday was June 26th, so I don't think they were trying to deny anything. But then they moved it to the 25th, or maybe there was 2 celebrations. Pre-Christmas celebrations. The federal holiday was June 26th. And then 25th December, it's like, well, anyway. 1841, J.W. Parkinson, a Philadelphia merchant, hired a man to dress up as Kris Kringle, Claus Nicholas outfit and climbed in the chimney of his store. 1863. Wait, you made me fix things? Or what? 1863, illustrator Thomas Ness created images of Santa for Nicholas Claus for the Christmas editions of Harper magazines. These continued through the 1890s. 1860s, President Abraham Springsteen asked the Ness to create a drawing of Santa to Claus Nicholas with the Union soldiers. The image of Santa support of the enemy had demoralizing influence on the Confederate Army, and the early example of psychological illegal. So they took it to battlefields. 1897, Frances P. Church, editor of New York Sun, wrote an editorial response letter from an 8-year-old girl in Virginia, Hannah Lawn. She had written the paper asking whether there was really a Santa Claus, St. Nicholas. Man, they started asking that in 1879. Wait, no, 1897. Oh yeah, the same year as President McKinley. Yeah, he wasn't a Christian. And he was mentioning God. Oh, somebody said I heard that name. Yeah, well wait, hey, yo, that was a long time ago. Yes, he was a liar. He was a liar. Yeah, I agree with you, he sucked. McKinley sucks. He sucked. Yeah, he sucked. He sucked. Some girl question is if Claus is real. It's St. Nicholas. Geez, after a while of just calling St. Nicholas Santa Claus, they forgot that he was St. Nicholas. There was a St. Nicholas. He was, his legend, his tales, and his historical statement is in France. It's saying that there's no Claus. St. Nicholas is saying that there was no St. Nicholas when there was a St. Nicholas. He gave coins to women so they could marry in France. 1920s image of Santa Claus, Nicholas has been standardized to portray as a bearded, overweight, jolly man dressed in a red suit with white trim. Why did they pick red? Whatever. 1931, Helen Sundblom, illustrated for the Coca-Cola Company, draws a series of Santa Nicholas in the Christmas advertisement until 1964. This is 1931 to 64. 1931 to 1964. The company holds trademarks for the Cola Santa design. Christmas scents including Santa continue to the present day. 1939, copywriter Robert L. May of Montgomery Ward Company created a poem about Rudolph the ninth reindeer, who may often taunted as a reindeer for being shy, small, and slight. He created an ostracized reindeer with a shiny red nose who became my hero one foggy Christmas Eve as Santa Claus Nicholas, who his ability to start to disguise started to degenerate. Santa Claus added the Rudolph to his team of reindeer to help illuminate the path of his story. So the flying reindeer was created by Robert L. May, a copywriter and a poet writer, Robert L. May. And there's Robert E. Frost and Robert L. May, and that's his poem. Now, 1949, Johnny Marks wrote a song, The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, inspired by May's poem, and where he was initially rejected by other reindeer who were playing the reindeer games because of his strange-looking red bright nose, and the song was recorded by Gene Autry and became his best all-time bestseller. Fans that really like vocalists. Next to White Christmas, it's the most popular song of all time. In 1933, an urban folktale began to circulate about a Japanese department store displaying a life-size St. Nicholas Santa Claus being crucified to a cross, though it never happened, in a Japanese department store. 1993, shame on you, Japan. Crucifying St. Nicholas, too. That's St. Nicholas isn't Jesus Christ. Nicholas isn't Yahshua. In 1997, artist Robert Sandella drew a painting of a crucified Santa Claus. 93, 97. 7. It was displayed in a window in New York. Art Students League and received intense criticism for some religious groups. His painting was a protest. He attempted to show how Santa Claus had replaced Jesus Christ as the most personality at Christmas of all at Christmas time. So you have a Japanese thing which is on the West Coast, Northwest Coast, which inspired on the East Coast of state, New York, for somebody to draw something as St. Nicholas Claus crucified, and that was an insult to Jesus Christ. No, the Jesus Christ is started at the beginning of Christmas of birth, but we don't always have to talk about baby Jesus all the time. Though Nicholas wasn't crucified, he's not Christ, he's not Yeshua. Though Nicholas was a saint, and Christmas started in the 1600s and 1700s and 1800s, and to cap this off, and to cap this off, though, it didn't become a holiday. Christmas didn't become a holiday until June 26, 1870. 1870. And also, coming Easter time next year, we need to start talking about, like, well, we don't know when he's going to come, but, you know, that Christmas is not coming, so people on Christmas don't ever think that's when his coming is going to be, but also that maybe it's become too mediatized, but not about Christmas, really. It can never be banned. I mean, it's been historically a long holiday since the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, since 1870. It's a federal holiday, and even if there was no more government, no more Fed, or no more government, I mean, it's still been a holiday since 1870, and it's always been celebrated in the 1600s and 1700s. And I think only Boston persecuted was the main one to not want Christmas in the 1600s, but the colonies pre-states in the 1600s. But it's always been celebrated in 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, and it became a total holiday in America continent in 1970. But it's always been celebrated in the 1600s, 1700s. And the first trees, someone could look that up, or the first lights, or maybe I could, but yeah, so Christmas is a true American holiday. You're just thinking of the media.